Guys, your boy called it. I called it. I said second round knockout. I called this thing to a T. You might as well just call me Nostradamus. Like, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but beep, beep. You know what I mean? Like,
I called it.
It comes down to two things for me. Who's technically better? And that's Conor, in my opinion. Who's going to showcase it in a way the opponent can't answer? And again, I think that's Conor. Of all the things that Dustin's developed, he hasn't developed a way to handle a precise counterpuncher as he moves forward on them, or a precise counterpuncher as he exchanges with him. He hasn't found that answer yet. Maybe he comes into that second round not necessarily fully there, and Conor finishes the deal there early in the second. He lands a big shot, follows up, and gets Dustin out of there in the second round. So, yeah, like I was saying, called it. First off, before we start the video, guys, I have to thank you because we had the best live stream I've ever had on this channel, on this platform, Saturday night. And it's because of you guys. 22,000 of you came in, showed your boy support and love. If you missed it, go check out the video. We had a blast on Saturday night, and be sure to catch the next one. I'll keep you guys updated on when that is. I've got my eye on one fight, and I think you guys are going to like it. So stay tuned. Let's get into the video. All right, so Conor McGregor loses on Saturday night. Something I did not think I'd be saying on Monday morning, but here we are, and everybody's put out their reactions. I wanted to take a couple days and just kind of let things die down because everybody has these knee-jerk reactions. You guys know this. After the fight, it was, oh, Conor might not have been as committed. The weight cut might have been an issue. He looked small for the weight class. Everything was thrown out there to discredit Dustin Poirier, and I'm a big Conor McGregor fan. You guys know this. I've been watching Conor since he made his rise through the UFC. If there's a guy to beat Conor McGregor and be the best lightweight on the planet if Khabib is indeed retired, it's Dustin Poirier. The guy is the best representation of hard work and dedication, the best representation of our sport. I guess what I'm trying to get at is that Dustin Poirier beat Conor McGregor, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He beat him. And now moving forward, he's the best lightweight on the planet, in my opinion. He has to be. If Khabib's not fighting, that's the guy. So let's talk about what happened. So first and foremost, I think the game plan from both sides had a big impact on this fight. I think Dustin's game plan, his team's game plan, which we mentioned, by the way, go back and watch my prediction video. I said the two things that Dustin had to do to win, low leg kicks and grapple early. He did both of those things to a T. Now, Conor's game plan, on the other hand, was, I didn't think as necessarily ready for those low leg kicks. I heard John Kavanaugh's interview where he said they expected Dustin to kick low, they expected him to grapple, but it did feel like after Dustin did those things that Conor McGregor was put into a position where he was not comfortable striking like we normally see him, as fluid, as people have said, bouncy. I think they mean lighter on the lead leg, right? Because even as he's gotten to 155, you've seen him go away from that kind of bouncy in and out stance that you've seen him at the lower weight classes. And even at 170, you haven't really seen that from him either. Go back and watch when he fought, even the night he fought Eddie Alvarez, he was very heavy on that lead leg. He was very heavy forward leaning, more of a boxing stance. The hands were down, which I like Conor better with his hands a little further down, right? Yeah, he's not protecting his chin as much, but he's also not shoulders forward, everything in that front lead hand. There's not a lot of room to kick off of that when he is so boxing heavy, which I think could have been changed. And I think the strategy for Conor and his team were to light Dustin up, to absolutely go in there and light him up with the hands. And they tried to do that. Dustin wasn't having it. It wasn't just the calf kicks. You saw Dustin Poirier start to mix up that check right hook off of Conor's straight left. It's an easy play for a southpaw or orthodox. I throw my straight out. The person standing opposite of me, it's easy to lean off and throw the check hook behind, because when you throw that straight punch out, and especially in Conor's case where he gets really long and sometimes overthrows it and reaches out, which as his stance starting to shorten up because of the leg kicks, he had to reach and reach and reach, and all of a sudden he's way out there. It's an easy play for Dustin to step back and bang the check hook over the top. He landed that a couple of times. I thought in the first round, both guys exchanged really well. I thought Dustin landed more shots. Obviously, I thought Conor landed the more meaningful shots in those exchanges. The adjustment off Dustin throwing the check hook and even Dustin's straight right hand was that Conor was not going to throw the left straight out, right? He was wanting to lean in and pop up the corkscrew uppercut. That landed a good amount of times and landed heavy. But Dustin's chin held up at 155. He's shown time and time again over his last few fights, this chin is far more developed, and there's a couple more things, obviously, at a higher weight class that go into that, but Dustin Poirier can take a fucking shot. Conor hit him with left crosses all night, hit him with, again, those lead uppercuts. Those were things that were landing, and Dustin, while, he was getting touched by him, he wasn't going away, and I think that built more to the confidence of Dustin Poirier as this fight went on. I think away went the fears of being knocked out because he knew now, okay, I can take this shot. I've taken 2 or 3 of these shots. I can be here for these. He even said this after the fight. He said, that's just a man that bleeds. The aura wasn't there for me this time. Yeah, going back to the first round, Conor gets taken down pretty fairly easy, and I don't know if he expected it to be that easy, but he gets back to his feet. I thought Conor did some good things in the clinch. I thought he threw some good knees to the body. Obviously, the shoulder strikes became prevalent again. Both those guys actually traded shoulder strikes, which I thought was funny. And then Conor lands a sneaky elbow over the top as they break. And again, in the first round, I thought Conor landed the more meaningful shots. I thought Dustin landed more shots. I mean, that was obvious, I thought. And the leg kicks started to add up, right? Conor was not showing them any respect at the start of the fight. And immediately you started to see Conor shorten his stance up. And yes, while he was a little bit more of that wide stance, which we've known Conor to use, it wasn't necessarily as light and back and forth and sliding out of range and coming back in. There was some of that, but most of it was Conor planted on that lead foot, both hands up here, and rolling the shoulders forward, a predominantly boxing stance, and Dustin took advantage of it. Anytime Conor wanted to come in with a straight left or combinations, right? Dustin was making him pay for it by landing a counter low leg kick. And we get into the second round. Both guys start well. You know, Conor's landing his straight left, landing the corkscrew uppercut. Dustin's landing jabs and popping Conor with the jab. But on top of that, Dustin's landing up top. He's piecing him up with jabs. He starts pointing at Conor because not only now is he landing the leg kicks, he's landing some stuff over the top with the check right hook. But he's got Conor's timing down, and that's so hard to do with a guy like Conor McGregor. He's so unpredictable in most cases. This night, not so much. But in most cases, Conor's so unpredictable. They said this on Dustin's side coming in. The unpredictability of Conor is something you can't prepare for because you don't know what's coming. We didn't really see that in the fight. And Dustin's like, aha, I've got your timing. Now that left hand's going to be a lot harder to land. And if you do land it, you're going to pay for it with a low calf kick or a check right hook to return fire. So then we get into the finishing sequence, which is Dustin Poirier realizing that not only is Conor compromised, but that Conor is starting to let off the gas as far as his combinations moving forward. And when he does come forward, he's getting a little sloppy. He's starting to throw shots that Conor McGregor usually doesn't throw. We were talking about a precise technician. Now, Conor sometimes will throw out some wilder shots, mostly to get a reaction. But in this case, this seemed like desperation. This seemed like, I need to get this guy out of here because I can't stand on my lead leg. And you saw Conor start to throw looping overhand lefts and really kind of leaning on one side and trying to scoop the uppercuts with really no protection or defense behind it. And Dustin started to notice it. So even when Conor was pressuring Dustin just lightly tap, tap, move, tap, leg kick, tap. And finally, he lands a low leg kick on Conor as Conor throws a looping overhand left. And this right here is where both guys realized the end was near. Conor, I think, started to realize this is not going to work out for me. Dustin realized, I need to jump on this guy now. Dustin lands the low leg kick, but then also lands a right hand behind it, and it clips Conor. I remember watching in the fight and saying, oh, that hurt him. That hurt him. Because it just looked like Conor kind of stumbled on the front leg. And yes, some of it, I'm assuming, was because he was compromised on that lead leg, but it was also Dustin caught him. And immediately Dustin circles around to the cage. Now Conor's back is on the cage, and Dustin starts letting loose those fucking Louisiana ghost peppers on Conor. He starts letting shots fly. Now, for the most part, Conor does a good job of avoiding those, but in the end, Conor is at this point very compromised. He tries to circle out, counter shots. He lands maybe one, but it's just too much. There's a barrage here. We're talking about Dustin Poirier. Combination striker in the pocket. This is where the bread is buttered for Dustin Poirier. He gets into an orthodox stance, bangs the right hand. Make no mistake about it, guys. Conor McGregor went out, at least for a second or two, because Dustin rained down shots from the top, a left hand behind it, and Conor's hand starts bouncing off the canvas. First time in his career he's been KO'd. I know it's a TKO, technically the referee steps in. Even then, first time in Conor's career that's happened in the MMA scene. And that's the fight. Listen, I thought Conor's team came in with a little bit of the wrong strategy as far as what's going to work against Dustin Poirier. I think they didn't respect the leg kicks coming in, and it's hard to do if you're not getting leg kicked a ton. And Conor, he said it himself, he's been very inactive. That's a big point to make because, yeah, you're not going to feel those low leg kicks in sparring and in training because why would you do that and not be able to train for weeks at a time? That's just not, you don't do that. I think there was a little bit of that aura that Conor still thought he had over a guy like Dustin, and immediately that changed when Dustin ate a couple of those shots and was like, I'm still here. And I'm winning some of these exchanges. And then in the second round, most of the exchanges. I think Conor's going to be fine. I think Conor comes back, and I would like to see him fight maybe a Nate Diaz, maybe a Tony Ferguson, maybe again the rematch with Dustin. I don't really know where they want to go with that, but I'd be down for all of it. Like I said, there's tweaks that both guys can do. Dustin obviously still got clipped with shots, and maybe that's just something that Dustin is willing to take from a guy like Conor now that he knows he can take those shots and that Conor's not going to put him out, especially early on. So maybe there's not so much that Dustin needs to do. He just won. I think the adjustments from Conor's camp are simple. Find ways to counter. McGregor's got some work to do, but he's not washed. He's not gone. He's not retiring. The guy is still going to be around. This is almost more exciting to me to see the next redemption arc, right? You have the rise, the fall, the rise, the fall. Conor McGregor gets his own dust. The best lightweight, in my opinion, on the planet. What's next for him? What's next for Conor? I think it could be each other. I'm not going to say that for sure. I don't know, but I'm very excited to see the lightweight division in 2020.